Hi, I'm Deb McIntosh, and welcome to this episode of Upfront. Today, May 25th, we got some great news from Bonnie Henry, and on that note, we are here today with City Councillor and Rec Commissioner Dan Rye and Manager of the Rec Centre, Jim Crockett. We're at the Rec Centre, and in the background you can see the new daycare that's being constructed. Exciting times for Castlegar, new programming coming for that, and of course with everything else that's going on with COVID, four-step program coming, Jim's going to talk about how we're going to re-entry into that, and it's going to be an exciting season for everyone. Good afternoon, fellas. Such a pleasure to be with you here today. It's been a long time since I've seen either one of you. The community's been separated for so long that we're getting closer. Anticipation is building up, and that's a great feeling. So we're here today to talk a little bit about the daycare that's going in and just about rec services and what's happening in times of COVID, especially with the good news that we had today through Bonnie Henry opening up a little bit and doing some fun stuff. So I'm going to start with you, Dan. Do you want to tell us your position on the Rec Commission and how long you've been there?
All right, thanks, Deb. Let's see, I've probably been on the Rec Commission now, I think, for about 8 years. I've been a city councillor for 10. I've got on the city council in 2011. I think I've joined the Rec Commission in 2013. At the present time, I'm the chair of the Rec Commission.
Wonderful. And Jim, what is your position here at the Castlegar District Recreation Centre?
I'm the manager here at the Rec Centre.
So all-encompassing. You're the man.
Of this
You're
Rec
the
Centre.
go-to guy.
I'm the go-to guy,
Okay. So the daycare centre, there's been a lot of buzz in the paper and online about the new daycare going in, and it's fabulous, much needed for sure. What kind of partnership happened to get this going? Dan, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. A little over 2 years ago, Kootenay Family Place approached us. They'd been approached by the provincial government, by the Ministry of Children and Families. They had some money available for grants to provide childcare spaces. They came to the Rec Commission and asked us if we would be interested in working with them. Kootenay Family Place, I mean. And we said yes, we would. And after quite a period of time, we managed to get a $2 million grant from them.
That sounds wonderful, and we all know government doesn't move in leaps and bounds, but more at a slow, steady pace. So congratulations on that. Jim, one of the things I did is I put a question out to people on social media as to what their questions were. And we all know that change is very hard for people, extremely hard. So one of the main concerns was, why did you take out all the trees and the shrubbery?
Well, there was, as part of the whole design process, there was a landscape plan put in place. So there's a variety of reasons why some of the trees got taken out and why some didn't. The main piece was with the new plan, there is obviously the footprint of the building. So there was a couple of trees that were going to be impacted directly by the footprint. The other part is, one of the important parts is that we wanted to connect the building. So the building initially we were hoping to have as part of the actual complex inside, but we couldn't make that happen without a much larger project. But it was important for us to get a sidewalk to the front and out to 6th Avenue. So there's a real connection there. We wanted kids to be able to travel between the child care center and the complex, the front entrance, and also to public transit on the street. So there is a sidewalk now that's going right in front of the building and will go all the way out to 6th Avenue. So on the 6th Avenue piece, there was a couple of trees there, and they were assessed and they were on their way out. They were losing their leaves halfway through the year. They were getting choked out really by the pavement. And then all along the front of the building, we had a number of shrubs that were just going to be in the way of the sidewalk, and some of those trees were quite old, and so through the assessment, they were deemed to be taken out. Same with the back over along the building here. So underneath the building, along the fence line by the Lambert, there was a whole bunch of cedar trees, and so we had to take those out. The gas line was right right underneath them. And that all had to be moved. And we wanted to open it up visually as well. So it did open it up. We did actually removed about half of those trees that you can see that are still there now. So we cut those back quite a bit. But I guess the biggest comment to make on all of it is there is a landscape plan, and all of these trees will be replaced, or shrubs will be replaced. It's quite a detailed plan, and our staff are going to be doing a lot of that work as we move along the project.
Thank you for that, Jim. It's important to people. People want our buildings to look pretty and aesthetically pleasing, and something to look at when they're swimming or working out as well.
Can I just add something to that, Deb?
I wish you would.
Okay, because after Jim brought forward the proposal and we had the sidewalk in there, and I have to admit, we've never had a sidewalk for people to walk on safely to get into the community center. Everybody's just walked across the parking lot. So now there'll be a sidewalk, there'll be a designated area for people to walk on for safety.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing, especially now that we're easing our way out of COVID. Things are going to get busier, and people are going to be more excited. There's going to be kids around here now, so kudos to you guys for thinking of the bigger picture and looking further down the road. I think that's really important. One of the other questions I was asked is, what about the playground? They took away our playground.
The playground was actually right where the building is going to go with the footprint. It was quite a dated playground. So, but as part of the childcare itself, we have to have a play yard with it. So that will be there. And in addition to that, we are doing a couple of other play equipment is going in there, and that'll be for the older group. And those will be available to the community after hours.
So off limits while the daycare is in play, and then everyone can use it like a regular park afterwards.
Yeah, the older one should be available all the time, but the actual play yard itself would be specifically for the child care center.
That's great. Do you think now opening it up, the labyrinth will get more use? More people will see it, know it's there? It's still a hidden little secret.
Yeah, it could be. We do have a group of people that are using it on a regular basis, but it will also open it up for other use, even with the child care center using it. So,
as an elected official, Dan, is you always have to gauge the public's needs, and you have to look into the future as to what is needed, when it's needed, and when to start that. Are there any other future plans coming down the pike to add to or do anything around the complex? Or is there any more green space happening anywhere? Do I get a scoop here?
Well, I think we have applied for a grant. We're waiting to hear. I think it's for about $5.1 million, I believe. We're waiting anxiously to hear, because we've put that grant application in quite some time ago. That would be to do some major maintenance things that need to be done around the complex, and also to upgrade our weight room facility, which is the number one item that people want to see fixed up first. And so if that grant comes through, then we'll be able to go ahead and start making some improvements to the facility.
And the weight room has been pretty consistent across the board.
Yeah.
Has it not? Yeah.
It's always been the number one item anytime there's been any surveys done. People want to see a better weight room facility.
One of the questions we had, and I think you answered it, is would there be future integration with the daycare into the complex? But again, that's a much bigger project, so that won't be happening unless a major...
No, it won't be happening now. We had hoped to be able to do it as part of, as Chair Rye talked about, we did apply for this grant at the same time when we got the childcare grant, and if we could have meshed those two together, we probably could have connected it at that time, but we were not successful with the bigger grant, so we had to go with this as a standalone. It would have just been too cost prohibitive to tie it into the building, but that's why we wanted to make sure that sidewalk was there, so it did feel connected as part of the greater complex area.
Well, I think the fact that it's actually happening is the real story, that it's happening regardless if it's integrated or not. So one of the other questions is who owns the building and who's going to maintain it?
The building will be owned by the Regional District of Central Kootenay. So when we applied for the grant, we had to be the ones that accepted the facility. So we will be responsible for the building and the asset in the long term, but the regular operation of the child care center will be by Kootenay Family Place. So we have a partnership with them. We're just working through the final details right now, but they will be running the child care portion, and then we will be able to access the facility off school time. So in spring break and summer, we'll be able to run our camps and that kind of activities out of that building.
So, Councillor Rye, will this impact municipal taxes or through the RDCK at all, having one more thing to look after?
I don't think so at this point. The grant we got was for $2 million. The building came in about 1.4 million, I believe, and then there'll be other incidentals obviously on top of that. So there's no taxpayer dollars going into building this facility.
So moving forward, then it's just more of a benefit to the community than a tax burden, having it built there. Because we all know that daycare centers are very much needed around here. And so again, kudos on you guys for taking a chance, because it's not always easy doing something that is not seen as the norm within regional districts or municipalities especially. Partnerships are sometimes looked at as we're selling something off or giving something away for free.
I think we had to have a great partnership to, all the different levels come together to make this happen. I mean, we sat down. It took a while to put it all together. There's no doubt about it. But we thought it would be the best for the rec center, and I'm sure in the end that families are going to be very happy it's there.
Oh, I bet they will be. I'm interested in the skate park next to the daycare. Do you see an opportunity for some really neat mentoring going on? Some future little boarders coming to life?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a great partnership between, right now. We have a partnership right now with Kootenay Family Place that runs a summer skate program, and it's been one of the most popular programs that run here in the summer for the last number of years. So I think, we can just build on that, and maybe we'll see a lot of little skateboarders out there on their boards, and as they grow up, you never know. Who knows what could happen.
There's a lot of synergies with the child care center in the whole building. So right now the rec center offers, we have a senior center in there. We have all kinds of adult and youth programming. We have the skate park. We have all of the tennis and the soccer fields and everything. So the synergies of having a child care center just fits really well, and we're going to be, children will be introduced into sport and rec activities at a young age, and that's been shown to carry forward throughout their lifetime. If you're introduced at a young age to these kind of activities, the likelihood of you continuing that through your life is much greater. So it's important to have the kids here and part of the whole facility.
So this is one of the things that I think is really important that the community understand. It's not just about having a meeting about building a building and then housing some kids and then they go home. It's about the bigger picture and bringing people together, and much like you were saying, the synergies of having it here. And I think that can only benefit the community, especially at this end of town. It seems to be growing a bit. There's going to be more and more things happening. And I think it's great. It's a long time overdue, daycare centers in general. And I think partnering with Kootenay Family Place has just sort of ramped it up a little bit and just made it so that we know that it's going to be successful. They've been very successful for a number of decades, so this is...
They're the experts in the childcare world, so it's a great partnership to be involved with them.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. I want to move on to a few other things. You guys have been in lockdown, pretty much. It's been hard, whether it's council meetings, rec commission meetings, coming to work, no big programming. What's going to happen now with the new announcement today from Bonnie Henry? How do you see going forward?
Well, it was good to see that they introduced a 4-step plan, so that's going to be helpful for us to sort of start to reintegrate. So we're going to have things with staff, we're going to have things with the public. There's going to be all kinds of little issues and hiccups as we move along here, but we are going to be reintroducing programming again. We did pause some of our low intensity fitness classes, so those are all be coming back in as of today. The pool and the fitness center is open now, so I mean it always was, so you could book into those spaces, but this is going to be able to allow us to open up programming again. We hope to have summer camps here again this summer. We had them last summer, but we will be offering those again this year. So I think this, with the 4-step plan here, it's going to allow us to slowly reintroduce everything and get everybody accustomed, staff and public, to being back in a public building.
Yeah, it must be hard on staff not knowing when they're going back, what they're doing, so I can appreciate the 4-step program. Go ahead.
Through this whole thing, staff has been under a lot of pressure, there's no doubt, and they've done a fantastic job. I mean, things were changing almost weekly sometimes. They'd spend 2-3 weeks putting together a program, putting together a plan, and then bang, it's off the table. They can't do that. So staff has been fantastic through this whole thing, and I'm sure they want to get back to some sort of normalcy because it's been tough on them. It's really been tough. So, and I want to kudos to them because they've done a fantastic job.
They sure have. People are saying they've booked reservations for this or that, and thank God for that, because that's, mental health is so important, and having an outlet for some people is just absolutely necessary. So even skateboarding for the kids, so many of their things have been taken away. The fact that they can be out here playing and riding their boards and stuff is fantastic. I personally thought about giving it a shot, but then I changed my mind very quickly.
Last summer we did have to close it off for a period of time, but the kids have actually been pretty good and pretty respectful this year. They're keeping their distance. We did have signage out there, and we were monitoring it, making sure it wasn't getting out of hand, but the kids were respectful. We went over there one time as part of this planning process, and they thought we were going to be shutting it down, and we said, no, you guys are you're doing well, and you're keeping your distance, and so they've been good, and it's been really nice to see it so busy in the evenings. There's a lot of kids here.
Yeah, and the success of this park only comes from mutual respect, right? They can't be just the boarders, and you can't be just management. It's got to be working together to make sure it's beneficial for everyone. And considering we're in a residential area, so that's good. Again, good managing, good planning by you and your staff and the Rec Commission board. That's really important.
And a lot of times they're policing themselves too, which is good. If they see things that aren't right, then they talk to each other and say, we shouldn't be doing this, we shouldn't do that. So that's been really good. The skateboard park is, years ago they had a different kind of a reputation. I think now skateboard parks are in every community, so I think it's great.
Well, I think us older folks have changed our opinions on them. I think they're not seen as quite the rebel rousers as we all painted them a while ago. So I think that's really good. And when you come out here and see these little teeny guys on boards, I mean, that's just the cutest thing you could ever see, right? That just melts your heart. So the Rec Commission has gone through a little bit of a change lately with the new mayor coming on. Do you see you guys taking a new direction and a new commissioner? I understand that Councillor McFadden is now on the board.
Yes, that's right. So Councillor Price, who was the chair for the last 2 years, actually stepped down his chair in February, I believe it was, and he stepped off the Rec Commission just a couple of weeks ago. Councillor McFadden will be coming on to the Rec Commission now, and of course the new mayor, Mayor Duff, will be on the Rec Commission as the regional district.
And Maria is replacing Councillor Heaton.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, there was a lot of changes there for a while, and I couldn't keep up. So thanks for some clarity on.
We sort of knew that there would be some changes after the by-election, so this is just, it's starting to all fall into place now.
Yeah. So with the new mayor at the helm of the city, how do you see this moving forward with him on the Rec Commission? He did run on a platform of just, deep breath, let's take it easy, let's just analyze things, no hurry. have you guys got some big plans happening that are?
For the Rec Commission?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest plan would be if we get that grant, which we hope to hear from, as I said earlier, fairly soon, which is 5.1 million. That'll mean we have to start going to work on things very fast. So hopefully that grant comes through. We have money in our reserves to do the projects that we want to do without adding to taxation. So, once we hear on that grant, we'll go from there, and it'll be go like gusto, because we want to get things done.
Yeah, with the government handing out money the way they have been, it's no time to second guess yourself on some of these things, for sure.
We have a plan ready to go if that money comes through.
That's great. So during this whole COVID thing, some of the things that we noticed is that, what's blatantly left out of everybody's emergency planning is because who anticipated a pandemic, right? So public washrooms, showers, and I know that in the past, people that were living on the street and stuff utilized your facilities at times and stuff, and washrooms in particular. So, and I've talked to Chris Barlow at the city about this too. How does and will the commission and the city get together to devise some way of covering all of these little shortfalls that we've seen? I mean, little in the way of not grand planning, but incorporating the different factions of the community that we didn't take into account for things like cleanliness.
That, I would say, that means all the groups getting down and sitting at the same table to have a discussion. That's where it would start. And that this might be the thing that brings it to light, is the fact that when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden we didn't have open facilities, we didn't have washrooms, we didn't have shower facilities. So if we can get everybody at the same table and sitting down and expressing what their concerns are, that's where I think it starts.
Yeah, because there is a concern through the street population about where they go for things, right? And in public buildings, it's the first one you look at, right? You always look at the rec center or the library or things like that for to help with those instances. We did a study with a lady that was out at Selkirk College. She did a survey about how closing down the library affected people, not just street people, but in the community. And it was really, really interesting to see that the facilities like that aren't just used for reading books or using the computers. They're for socializing, they're for feeling safe, they're for sitting there, not even really talking to anyone, but just having a safe space to go to. And I think those are really important things that we found out, that when facilities such as yours close down, those safe spaces are no longer there, because people from the street in particular or passing through can come and talk to the staff. And the staff are always gracious and kind and can give them really good information. And I think that was missing. And I think that's something really important as a community that we have to look at. That was my soapbox moment. But in the long and short of it, though, I want to thank you guys for taking a chance in building, first of all, a partnership with Kootenai Family Place. What an excellent group to partner with. For having a broad scope and an open mind as to what people want, and to be able to incorporate the skate park, all of the community, seniors, and the little guys all in one facility. I think that speaks volumes for the leadership and the management of this area, the greater Castlegar area, and you should all be commended on that. And so personally, I thank you for that, and I know people are grateful. Is there any new planning for new programming this year, do you think? Is it going to be the status quo until everybody gets back on their feet? Or is Audrey going to be running people ragged with new programming and all sorts of things?
No, I think really our focus right now is restarting after COVID, and that has been our focus for the last year and will continue to be our focus. We always have a number of good programs being offered, whether it's fitness or recreational programs or summer camps. So all of those will be going ahead.
So let's touch on the seniors for a little bit. They have always wanted a bigger space. They've always needed bigger space. Do you think, in the future you'll look at that again, or is that just like a total rebuild of everything before you can even consider that? Expanding senior space.
The commission considered it at one time, but it was part of the referendum, I believe, one of the referendums. It was part of that plan, but as of right now, we don't have any plans in place. The senior center, unfortunately, due to COVID, has been closed, and I'm sure we'll be in conversations with them in the coming weeks as to when they can to reopen again. So I think that, again, that'll be our focus with the seniors in the next few months, is to get them back in and getting some programming for them.
Yeah, it's really important for them. Some of them have been isolated for so long that having a re-entry program to be around more people and to get back to some normalcy is going to be hard, I think. I know even for myself, with things, I'm pretty set in my COVID ways now. So going back to the normal way is going to be a challenge. It's going to be taxing, a different way of doing things. So I hope that they are successful in re-entry and again having some wonderful programming, and because they're a big group.
Yeah, and I think that's a big piece that is missing for the seniors right now. The senior center is a terrific social facility for the seniors. Aside from the programming, it's just getting out and getting with your peers and enjoying the social side of things, and that's been sorely missed through COVID. So I think that's going to be really important to get that back up and going, and have an outlet for the seniors to come and enjoy their community here.
What about the soccer fields? We got tennis happening over here, or pickleball and tennis. Got all sorts of things happening. The Millennium Park is opened up. Lots of things happening there. Is there going to be any special programming down there this year or next year coming? Anything?
No, I know we have a aquatics ambassador program, and we will be doing some outreach in and around the beach fronts and around the district. So we will likely be going down to doing some visitation with staff at Millennium, but we'll also be going out to the Slocan area and a number of different areas around the beach. One thing I did want to mention, and I don't know if this fits in, but just wanted to get some clarity about the child care center. So the child care center is actually going to be running two types of programs. One is a preschool program, so it's ages 2.5 to 5, and that'll be like a 3-hour in the morning program. So it'll go from sort of 8 till noonish, and then there will be a after-school program for 5 to 12-year-olds, and that'll be going again a 3-hour block thereabouts in the afternoon. So it'll be like a 2:30 as soon as school's out, 2:30 to 5:30 type of program. So I just wanted to clear that up, because I think there was some misinformation out in the community that it's going to be a full-day child care center, which it isn't. It's going to start off initially as a preschool session, and then an afternoon after-school session.
Yeah, and don't worry about what you bring up. This is like a coffee table conversation. There's no real formal format. We just want you guys to feel comfortable and talk about the things that are important to you. Dan, is there things that you, as a commissioner, are concerned about or wanting to bring forward, or have discussions with council about, or are things going well?
I think because so many things, so many projects, and so many programs have been on hold for 14, 16 months now, that, I think my biggest concern is to get things back to normal. Get the programs up and running. I mean, like right now we don't have anybody playing soccer because that's not happening. Ball, I'm not sure what happened with the ball fields this year, but I don't think there's been much ball so far this year. It'd be great to see those people back out on the ball fields, on the soccer fields. I mean, hockey's finished for this year, but maybe lacrosse inside in the arena. Just get things back to normal, and maybe come September, maybe we'll put a lot of this behind us, and things will be back to normal. And that I think that's my biggest concern, is we get those things up and running, and there's going to be some hiccups along the way for sure. I mean, so hopefully staff can minimize the hiccups, which I'm sure they will. They've minimized them up till now, so I'm sure that this is probably looking like a good road forward now.
Yeah, there is right now. We do have lacrosse going on the dry floor, and as well we've got a inline skating program that's being done through one of the coaches from the skate club. So they're in there as well. A lot of the programming that is about to change was all skills and drills, so there was no competition allowed, but that's now changing as of about an hour ago. So we're actually we have a meeting here this afternoon, and we're going to start looking at what that all means and how we can start to reactivate a lot of the things that are on hold. So you know, we, as Dan mentioned, we hope to see the kids out playing. They are opening up outdoor kids and adult activities, so it's all news to everybody today. So we're not sure exactly when or how it's going to work, but at least we have a path forward and we know where we're headed. So.
And just so we're clear, mask mandatory in indoor public spaces, right? That will carry through for a while, as with everything.
I think I heard masks were going to be mandatory up till the end of September for sure.
Indoor public spaces, yeah. Well, better be safe than sorry, right? One thing, you know, with the new construction on Columbia Avenue happening when it did, it's by the time they're done and you guys open up, it's going to be just great. I mean, it couldn't have been a more opportune time for this to happen, because the traffic along 6th Avenue now is a lot. Yeah, but managed very well. I'm really quite proud of the contractors that have done the Columbia Avenue thing, and with the city to make things happen smoothly. So I want to thank you guys very much for taking time out of your busy days to come and talk to me and have this chat with me. And I do hope that we can do this again, maybe when Kootenai Family Place moves into their building, or if something exciting comes up and you guys want to give us the scoop. I'd be happy to talk to you again. So thank you, folks, for coming on my show, and I really appreciate both of you very much.
Thanks, Deb.
Thanks, Deb.